Very good morning everybody. My name is Vinu Venkatesh and welcome to another lecture on the rules for nouns. Today we're going to talk about the rules for nouns, all sorts of nouns, all types of nouns in general. And before we start, I'd like to wish all students a very happy Guru Purnima Day. It is Guru Purnima Day in India today, which is a day where basically we respect and acknowledge the efforts put in by our teachers to help us become better human beings. So wish you all a very happy Guru Purnima Day. And on this note, I'd like to start off today's class. So last class we discussed about the rules for material nouns, collective nouns as well as abstract nouns. Today we're going to talk about some important rules for nouns in general. Okay, so the first rule is nouns which end in S have the same singular and plural form, and they always take a plural verb. For example, trousers, pants, species, arms, sunglasses, stairs, etc. It is wrong to say a trouser. You always say a pair of trousers, a pair of pants. And species, there is no singular form for species. Species is the same in the singular as well as the plural, right? So let's take a look at a few examples. The annals of World War I and II is recorded in history. Now annals means records, and records and annals is the same form in the singular as well as the plural. So as per this rule, the verb that we should use in the sentence should be plural, right? So the correct sentence would be the annals of World War I and II are recorded in history. Second example, the traveler was robbed of his belonging by dacoits. Now there's no word called belongings, it's always belongings. And belongings refer to a single baggage or more than one baggage, right? That's the way it is. So in this case, again, we have to correct the sentence to this effect. The traveler was robbed of his belongings by dacoits. Most of the deer species are from Africa. Now, as I said before, species is the same in singular and plural form. So we've got to correct this sentence and say most of the deer species are from Africa. We need a binocular to view celestial objects. Now, a word like binocular, trousers, scissors, pants, spectacles and sunglasses are always preceded by a pair of, because trousers are always occurring in a pair. So do sunglasses, so do spectacles, so do scissors, right? So we need to correct this and say we need a pair of binoculars to view celestial objects. Last example, when India won the match, firework started. There is no word called firework, it is always fireworks. So when India won the match, fireworks started. All right. Now, the second rule, units of measurement can be used in the singular and plural form, such as thousand, dozen, score, etc., pair, set, etc. But if it is preceded by a number or a digit, then it should always be in the singular form. This applies to all units of measurement except pair and set. We'll see how. Okay, let's take a look at the first example. There were 2 scores shops in the fair. Now there is a number which precedes the unit of measurement called score. So as per this rule, what should it be? It should appear in the singular form. So we should correctly say there were 2 score shops in the fair. All right. Over 10,000 people attended the wedding. Now 1000 is a unit of measurement, right? But we have a number 10 which precedes it. So as per this rule, again, it should not be thousands, but it should be 1000. It should be in the singular form. So over 10,000 people attended the wedding. I spent $800 for lunch. Is that correct? It is correct. Why? Because 100 is preceded by a number and a digit and is in the singular form. Okay. Now, have you seen the 2 new pairs of shoes? Now, this rule where we put the unit of measurement in a singular form when it is preceded by a number is not applicable to pair and set. So that's why it is correct to say, have you seen my 2 new pairs of shoes? All right. So pair and set are always in the plural, even if they are preceded by a number or a digit or otherwise. All right. But all other units of measurement will be in the singular form when they are preceded by a number or a digit. They will be in the plural form when they are not preceded by a number or a digit. For example, there were thousands of people in the crowd. All right. Now, Third rule. The first nouns that follow after the following expressions always take the plural form, right? Nouns which follow expressions such as one of, some of, percentage of, each of, either of, majority of, a great deal of, and so on are always in the plural form. Let's take a look at some of the examples. Three Idiots. Have you watched the movie Three Idiots? It stars Amir Khan, Kareena Kapoor, Sharman Joshi and R. Madhavan. It was a wonderful movie. So Three Idiots is one of the hit Bollywood movie. What are they saying? They're saying that Three Idiots is one of the hit Bollywood movie. It's not right to say movie. We're saying it is one of the hit Bollywood movies. There are many Bollywood movies, of which one of them is Three Idiots, and it is a hit. So it is one of the hit movies of Bollywood. So the correct way of saying this would be Three Idiots is one of the hit Bollywood movies. Always try and understand the sentence and then identify what is wrong and devise the correct solution. None of the candidate passed the test. Now, it should be none of the candidates passed the test, right? Because we have a group of candidates, many candidates, and none of those candidates means nobody passed the test. So it is right to say none of the candidates, not candidate, passed the test, right? We must eat some apple. Now this easily you can say that we must eat some apples, right? Because some means more than one, obviously. So we cannot have apple in the singular form. It has to be in the plural form. It's nothing but common sense. Try and understand the sentence before correcting it, right? Now, neither of the 5 thieves confessed to the crime. This sentence is wrong because we use the word either and neither only to differentiate or distinguish between two people. Only when there are two numbers can we use either or neither. When it is more than two, you use things like none, any, and so on, right? So in this sentence, we should say none of the 5 thieves confessed to the crime. Why? Because there are more than 2 thieves. If there were more than 2 thieves, then we would say neither of the 2 thieves confessed to the crime. But since there are more than 2, we have to use none. Similarly, let's look at this example. Either students can answer this question. Now, when we say either, meaning either you or him or her, right? So we are actually talking about one student. So it is not right to use plural form. It is correct to use a singular form here because you are saying either. So either student can answer the question. Before wedding, I have some works to do. The plural of work is work. So in this case, it becomes before wedding, I have some work to do. See, there is no hard and fast rule to, you cannot memorize a lot of things. So what you have to do is, you have to read, you have to develop and build your vocabulary. Only when you start reading good newspapers and good books will you understand the basic structure, the basic style of English language. Then you will be able to automatically identify what is right and what is wrong. So only learning grammar, only learning vocabulary will not help you. You have to read, you have to start listening to good shows on BBC, on CNN, on Times Now, many other good Indian channels. Start speaking in good and correct English. That's the only way to know how to speak better English. Now, the 4th rule. There are some nouns which are in the singular form but are used in the plural sense. So for these nouns, plural verbs are used. For example, the clergy is attending the sermon. Clergy is a group of priests, the seniors in a church. So then we say the clergy are attending the sermon. Again, as I said, it is difficult to memorize. You have to read, you have to understand, you have to read a lot of good books, newspapers to actually get the hang of English language. Next example, vermin does much harm to crops. Vermin means a swarm of locusts or a swarm of blight, they say, blight which destroys crop. So it appears as if it is in the singular form, but it is used in the plural sense. So we have to use a plural verb. So here, vermin do much harm to crops. Peasantry believes that farming depends on weather. Peasantry means what? The group of farmers, the group of agriculturists and so on. So it is a plural, it is used in the plural sense. So we have to use a plural verb. So what would the correct form be? Peasantry believe that farming depends on weather. Now, police is registering a FIR against many. We learned that police is always followed by a plural verb, right? So what should be the correct form here? Police are registering a FIR against many. The cattle are grazing in the field. Now, the plural of cattle is cattle. So how should we write the sentence? It should be the cattle are grazing in the field. Moving on to rule number 5. Now rule number 5 is the opposite of rule number 4. What does it say? Rule number 5 says that there are some nouns which appear to be in the plural form but they are actually singular. So a singular verb has to be used. What are such nouns? Example: news, politics, gallows, physics, billiards, ethics, summons, innings, means, etc. They appear to be plural because they are followed by an S, but they are actually singular. So we have to use a singular verb. Okay? For example, people say marriage is a second inning of life. So there is no word called inning. It is always innings. People say marriage is a second innings of life. Like you have innings in cricket, in test matches, it's the same thing. It is innings. There is no word called inning, right? Now, the accused received a summon by the court. Now, summon here is a noun. There is no such thing called summon. It is always summons, but it is still used in the singular form. So we say the accused received a summons by the court. All right? Boat is the only mean of transportation in the Sundarban area. There is no word called mean. It's means. I mean, in this sense, there is no word called mean. It is means. So boat is the only means of transportation in the Sundarban area. No news have been heard of her. Again, news appears to be plural, but it is used in the singular sense. So the verb has to be singular. No news has been heard of her. Now, the 6th rule says that there are some nouns which are always used in the singular form. They are uncountable nouns, and we should not use an article like the, or an before them. Such nouns are scenery, poetry, furniture, advice, information, hair, bread, stationery, crockery, baggage, money, and jewelry. We will never say a furniture. We will always say a piece of furniture. We will say a piece of advice and not an advice. We will not say an information. We will say a bit of information or a piece of information. A lock of hair, a loaf of bread or a slice of bread or a piece of bread. A bunch of stationery, a piece of crockery, a piece of baggage, units of money, a piece of jewelry, and so on. So these things you have to know. There is some memorization that is required, but I would still urge you to read as much as possible. For the purpose of the exam, understand each rule, apply your knowledge as well as common sense, but to actually get a good grasp of English language, you have to read, and there is no substitute for reading as well as speaking in English. So thank you for listening to this lecture. If there are any questions or comments, please do put it in the comment box. And until next time, I wish you all the very best and wish you again a very happy Guru Purnima day. Thank you.